Hey there, everyone. How's it going? So, between this part and the last part, I did a little bit of work on my elevator. And I figured I'd just go through that, after the fact. Sadly, when I was doing my work, my neighbor was kind of making a lot of noise and it was messing with my recording. So, I decided rather than trying to keep recording and do some post commentary, I'd just go over things. So, if you'll remember previously, when the player would come into the elevator and hit the lever, we were seeing a lot of physics related issues where as the elevator was rising, the player collider would get bumped and would create like a bouncing effect. And then alternately, when coming back down, the elevator would drop, but the player wasn't dropping at the same speed, so it would kind of act as a fall. So what I did to solve that is I added a um, component called the anchor player trigger. And what this does is very simply it detects if it has a collider on it, which is the size of the elevator itself, as you can see here with our green box collider. If the player and when the player enters, it changes the parent of the player to the elevator, and on trigger exit, it reverts the player to null. Additionally, because the player is coming from another scene, I had to do this scene manager dot move game object to scene function call in order to move the player back to the gameplay object scene. Otherwise, in a real scenario, when we go to unload the scene that has the anchor, we would destroy the player object. Additionally, I put this nice little guardrail on here. Just constructed this from a bunch of Pro Builder objects. So each one of these, I don't actually know what this is called as far as being part of a rail or a banister, but each one of these posts, I guess they're called posts, is a single cube that's been shaped to be like 0.25 by 0.25 by 2 or something like that in length. And then I got a giant post going across the top of each one. Additionally, I have this little guardrail down here, which is animated to raise up when the player hits the lever. So let me just go ahead and demonstrate that really quick. So when I hit my lever, see the guardrail came up and then the elevator started to move. Once our elevator snaps into place, the guardrail drops and away we go. Same exact deal when we hit the bottom. Not too shabby, right? So I did have to make some changes to my remote execution. First and foremost, the entry rail is animated the same way as we were animating our door, and the lever itself there's a animation state controller that's overriding our two state controller and just putting in a new animation clip, which is just changing the position of that rail. Now I did turn back around and make my two state mechanism interaction it used to be an abstract class, and now it's no longer, because I've got this scenario now where I've got interactables that I don't want to interact with directly that are just animations. So it made sense to leave that as a concrete class. In addition, my elevator, it knows about its elevator door interaction, which is just that two-state animation. And it knows that when I interact, I'm going to determine my target position based on which position the elevator's in. I'm going to yield return and wait for the elevator door animation to finish. I'm going to run my moving and do my loop with my yield wait return wait for seconds while we're moving. And then once we're stopped moving, we'll yield return the coroutine to drop the elevator door. and then the player's free to do whatever they want. In addition, my lever, before I put the elevator door on the elevator interactable, I had changed my interactable objects mechanism here, or rather my remote interaction, to support being able to invoke multiple interactions. But when I put that in there and I combine this with the elevator and the elevator door, the first time I would hit the lever, the elevator door animation would go up and the elevator would come up to the top. But then nothing would happen, of course, because the interaction was already done. The whole elevator door thing hinges on calling interact 2 times, which I didn't want to put that kind of orchestration together in this kind of very simple remote interaction class. Now, down the line, I might need some more complicated way to orchestrate interactions, but I don't know if that's going to be a scenario that I need to have for this game. So I'm not going to worry about that too much until I've kind of, really got the need for it. Until then, I'm fine with like the elevator knowing about the elevator door. Like that's pretty natural. And as long as it's like 1 or 2 things, I'm not too worried about it. But if I do get into this complicated order of operations, I might consider doing something like creating a new editor window that uses like the Mechanim animator window to have the state flow and control things that way. But that's probably significant overkill for what I'm trying to accomplish. Is there anything else? Yeah, I think that about covers it. So thank you, and I will catch you guys next time.